Hello friends, I'm and as you can see, I've upgraded my setup. Now leaving that, today we're going to look into the problems of Linux. Now, I've been a Linux user for 3 years and now it is time to actually share my experience, especially the cons. You've already heard about all the amazing advantages of Linux, but what about the disadvantages? Well, they are. And today I'm going to tell them and show them to you. Starting with the most obvious one, which every Linux user faces, whether you talk about a beginner, a professional, or just someone who casually uses Linux for day to day tasks like me. And that problem is drivers and codecs. Literally, man. Now, if you have a really normal setup with just a CPU, like a normal laptop, then you don't have to do anything because most of the drivers come pre installed into the beautiful kernel of Linux. But let's say you go to the next level. Just like me, I have a VivoBook 15, which is a creator laptop. It has an RTX 3050 inside, and along with that, it has a fingerprint reader, a really weird camera which works flawlessly, like really amazing, and a latest Bluetooth and Wi-Fi driver, all of that stuff. Now, whenever I install a Linux distribution, at start, I do not have any fingerprint support, any Bluetooth driver, any GPU driver pre-installed. Now, what I do? Well, for a normal Linux use case, you just have to update the system. And most of the drivers are supposed to install without you doing anything. But that's not the case, as we all know. Just like in Fedora, I have to enable non-free RPM Fusion repositories. Then I have to go to the software center, install the driver, or maybe go to the NVIDIA's website and then install the driver from there. Yes, that's just how a typical Linux user I am. Now I know what you're thinking, like that is a part of the process. If you face any problem, then there are unlimited solutions available online, and when you go through them, you learn a lot of things about what's inside the Linux kernel, how things work in the system. But I have a question for you. Would you rather spend 4, 5, 8 hours fixing a simple thing like a GPU driver or a CPU driver or maybe just a fingerprint reader or fixing your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi drivers? Or you could just spend that time, use that time to do something you're supposed to do. For example, just work on the thing you're supposed to do. Why did you bought a laptop in the first place? For work. Then just do that work. And that is where sometimes Linux lacks, while sometimes Linux excels. For some users, Linux is just awesome. It's just plug and play. They just have to install the whole distribution and everything just works out of the box. That's the beauty of Linux. But that's not the case for unique setups, PC setups, or laptops, just like mine. Now, don't get offended if you think otherwise because this is my personal opinion and experience from the past 3 years. Now, on to the next problem, which is wait, it's coming. Battery life, fans, and heating issues. Now, yes, I know that like Linux has enormous battery advantages on some cases, maybe 1 or 2 hours extra than Windows out of the box. But at what cost? You see, without the proprietary drivers, your CPU, your GPU, your everything is at a disadvantage because the whole system is not particularly designed for something. It's not proprietary. And so the efficiency, the optimization goes way down, even if you get a performance boost, an intensity boost, a battery boost. But at what cost? You see, right now, I've literally just the best battery life ever. 6 to 7 hours on a gaming sort of laptop, can you believe it? But at what cost? My GPU is now underpowered. It used to go 50 watts without charging, and now it's literally limited to 25 watts. That is the cost. That's the sacrifice I had to make just to get battery life. Well, hell no. It's a creator laptop. I need performance out of it. No, it can be just literally the opposite for some, like most users, in my opinion, because no one does, like most other people, do not prefer laptops for gaming, content creation, and everything. But what about those who do? Like, yes, all my favorite games are available on Linux, thank God. But what if I want to play PUBG or Fortnite? And that brings us to the third problem, software unavailability and anti cheat systems. It's literally a pain to say that. So the thing is, you get no Adobe applications, no Microsoft applications, nada. The only option you have for proper professional level content creation is DaVinci Resolve, GIMP, or if that's not the case, then just go on with the web versions, the web version of Photoshop. I mean, literally, now even iPhones have literally better Photoshops than the web version. And if that's not enough, then, well, you have Kden Live for video editing, but it's literally way too complex. Like, yes, it is literally the best, the most powerful video editor out there. But the whole interface is outdated, it's too complicated, and it does not have GPU acceleration. What's the meaning of me spending 100 or 200 extra dollars just to get a GPU while I cannot even use it? And then let me just show you one thing. Whenever I just do some a little heavy editing on my DaVinci Resolve, then it flickers. Like in my recent videos, those videos are flickering. You see, I used DaVinci Resolve to brighten my face. Hey, I did not use face retouch. I just increased the brightness of my face to look a little better. Everyone does it. But then you can see the flickering of how DaVinci is always unable to properly utilize my GPU, the power, in order to render the whole video with the effects. It's flickering. And that same applies to games. I literally just play Fallout 84 at maximum graphics, maximum FPS. On Windows, I used to get 65 to 80 FPS average. But on Linux, yes, at the starting, I just get the same FPS, 65 to 80 in between. But as the game goes on, I reach the final moments, it literally drops to 5 or 10 FPS. You know what that means? That the stability of the GPU efficiency optimization is really lacking here. And I don't know how long Firelight 84 will support Linux. Thank God it uses easy anti-cheat. But what about my other favorite games? I want to play Call of Duty Warzone or Fortnite or PUBG. I cannot play them. Now let's say you don't play that here. You're a creative professional. Then even the DaVinci Resolve is really hard to install. And yet you have to pay $300 to get the studio version in order to use MP4 files directly. Like, are $300 worth when you can just install Windows and use everything? And even if you do that, just like, well, I did some jugaad and got the studio version, but even now, the audio from MP4 files is missing. I literally have to convert each and every one of them, separate the video and audio, then convert the video to MKV and convert the audio to FLAC or MP3 or WAV. Like, this is such a hefty process. While I could have just used Windows and all I had to do was just drag and drop, and I would not face any issues. And now let's just get into the last problem of Linux, in my opinion. Like, it's my own experience, what I have problems with it. And my last problem for it is that most of the institutions like colleges and universities, most of them, along with most of the offices, corporate or IT companies, they don't use Linux in day-to-day life. Yes, there are a lot of enterprises who use Ubuntu, Fedora, Red Hat, but in India, they do not. And I will need to install Windows in order to properly keep up with my institution, to properly learn. Most of the softwares they're going to teach me are on Windows. I cannot get them working on Linux. And even if I do that, even if I try to emulate things, is it really worth it? That is the question. Is installing Linux and sacrifices? Is installing Linux getting the advantage of performance, FPS, battery life, the smoothness? Is that all worth it when you have to sacrifice the stability, the software availability, the peace of mind? Yes, Windows Update do sometimes go out of the line, but these days Microsoft is doing literally great work in it. Just think about it. Why do most of the companies like Adobe still prefer Windows and macOS over Linux, while Linux has the potential to reach enormous heights? The reason is simple. Linux is just not ready yet. But I'm not saying that it will never be. Linux has enormous potential to go beyond what Apple and Microsoft could ever imagine. But what Linux needs is proper development resources, proper funding, which it's a community driven whole infrastructure of the Linux. Like whether we talk about Ubuntu, Ubuntu has back support of Canonical, but is that enough? Then we have Fedora. Fedora has back support of Red Hat, but then Fedora is, well, community driven. But what about the whole Linux? The people who develop applications for Linux distribution, who maintain the repositories, are they getting paid enough? Or are they even getting paid at all? That is indeed a big question. And for most of the cases, we already know the answer. I will say I took a lot of frustration out of me on camera, but I needed to. Because everything is just like a coin. If it has enormous advantages, then there are supposedly and most probably equal disadvantages. If you're gaining something amazing, then you have to sacrifice something important. In my case, I gained amazing performance, battery life. Oh man, the fluid GNOME desktop. But what I lost? The stability, the software availability, the peace of mind, countless hours, which I could have used to create videos while I was just going through hell fixing drivers, installing my video editor again and again and again each time it broke. Now, let me just tell you the conclusion of the video. I am going to install Windows again because of, my institution. I need Windows to study in my institution as I'm a BTech student. Well, future BTech student because college has not started yet. But I need to be ready and I need to learn things in advance. I need to prepare, and for that, I'm going to need Windows. Now, you can say that everything can be done on Linux, yes, but am I going to be that efficient as my peers? And are those all countless hours trying to install simple things, fixing simple codecs? While I could have just gone into the application and studied the real thing, did the real thing which I was supposed to do, instead of spending countless hours setting it up, installing it up. Well, I believe I said a lot and it's gonna upset a lot of people, but this is indeed the harsh reality. Yes, I laid out all my frustration of Linux on camera, but the reason is obvious. I need you to aware of it. As a long-term Linux user who's been using Linux for almost 4 years now, when it comes to real work, you don't want to spend countless hours fixing things, setting it up. What you need to do is just plug your laptop and do the real deal without doing anything. Just hear me out. As a content creator, I'm supposed to just get up, write the script, shoot the video, get to my laptop and edit the video. But on Linux, it's not possible. Every time I'm faced with a lot of issues, it takes countless hours for me to fix it. And even then, the end result is what? My videos are flickering. The audio is choppy. I believe you got the point. And yeah, I need to update my setup. A lot. Really a lot. Well, I believe that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video and tell me in the comments what do you think about this topic. And yes, I know I'm gonna get a lot of unsubscriptions. A lot of people are gonna unsubscribe, but we have to face the harsh truth right now. Linux has potential and that's why I'm just gonna keep creating videos about Linux. But Linux is not ready yet to get into the real world. Yes, it is already out there in the real world, but is it ready for a normal user, a normal content creator like me, a person who needs to go to college, install the software, get to work directly without doing anything? That's what I need to do. Maybe your situation is way far different and Linux is actually an advantage for you. But for the majority of people, it is not. That is why Linux is still stuck at 4 point something percent. And do you know the fact that majority of the Linux users in that 4 point something percent are Indians because they have low-end PCs and that is why Linux has an advantage. But for how long? And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna say it again. I hope you enjoyed the video and if you did not, then you may unsubscribe the channel because I get it. I'm not supposed to hurt a lot of feelings like that. But sometimes I need to make you face the harsh truth. Comment agreed if you agree with me and if you have any opinions, suggestions, anything, just comment down and I will definitely read them. And I'll be the next video. Till then, I'm Noom, signing out.
बहुत बड़ी वीडियो बन गई।